Ripples on Deep Water by Orphaned Account on AO3. Episode 4, Chapter 4. Something was wrong with Izuku. It wasn't like Mei thought he was wrong. Kami, no. His quirklessness barely mattered to her, even though she knew it would matter to some. And she definitely didn't hate him or whatever was wrong. The first time she had ever seen him, he was really furious and crying as he ripped up something that was obviously important. And when he had shown up at the beach, she was ecstatic to think that she finally made a friend. But the way he cowered every time he mentioned he was quirkless, or how he flinched when she made wide movements, especially with her hands, or when he stiffened as she touched him, something horrible had happened to her friend, and she was going to find out if it killed her. But until then, she would respect his privacy. Mei had practically cried when her letter from UA came, so obviously she immediately called Izuku. He said he had gotten his and would be over soon to open it with her. He never showed up. The next day, he knocked on her door with his throat heavily bandaged. "Izuku, are you okay?" He flinched at her voice, but nodded with a weak smile. "Yeah, the necklace thing I was testing out. The one that I was going to dictate radio frequencies that exploded, and my mom had to take me to the hospital." Almost immediately, she relaxed at the explanation. Yeah, she knew the one. It was weirdly volatile, and Izuku kept accidentally exploding it. It didn't temper her worry, though. "Well," she huffed in response, "I should hope that you get better soon, or else. Did you bring the letter?" He held up the envelope with a grin. "Hatsume Mei, you've been accepted as only one of 5 into Power Loaders Class 1F. Your ingenuity impressed the judges, and we commended your intentive mind. You ranked first in the support design, tied for first in presentation, and second in practical application." Mei set her letter down and grinned at Izuku. "Open it." He gave her a wide smile and ripped his own open. Dumping the paper to the carpet, scooping it up with shaking hands, he read off. "Midoriya Izuku, you've been accepted as only one of 5 into Power Loaders 1F. Your boldness stunted the judges and left a real impression. You ranked second in support design, tied for first in presentation, and first in practical application." Mei looked at her friend with stars in her eyes as his smile grew. "Now I've just got to win the sports festival," he says conclusively. Mei nods along, a huge smile on her face, as she brainstormed all the babies she could be making soon. Izuku knew Mei meant well. She was all over the place, darting from one place to another, and saw nothing but her goal. Izuku wished he had that. It was both a blessing and a curse. He knew, but it would be incredible to give no thought to what happened outside of his immediate concern. Anxiety's a bitch. He'd already left Mei's, rubbing the bandages awkwardly. He honestly didn't remember the malfunction of the radio charm, or really much between leaving the house and walking up to the hospital. But his mother had tearfully told him that his necklace had exploded, and then did the unthinkable. She told him to stop building support items. That had, of course, led to a massive fight, which led in him leaving the hospital that morning, heading home, changing, and going to Mei's. When Mei had started, he wouldn't deny that he felt a little uncomfortable. He walks down the street, looking in the windows and silent when he catches sight of blonde hair in the reflection. No, not here. He spun, searching for his depressively familiar bully, and saw a man with blonde hair walk past, nose in his phone. Oh. Izuku looked at the pavement and hurried across the street into a corner store, not wanting to be seen. He could feel the weight of their gazes on his bandaged throat. Pretending to browse, he skimmed through different plans. He didn't want to go out and have people see him. Something dark red caught his attention. A scarf. That works. Izuku would be sad he didn't see his mother much anymore. He wasn't so fucking furious with her. She tried to get him to stop doing what he loved because of an accident. He wasn't made of glass. He was quirkless, not china. But all of his anger paled in his face of his excitement, at least for today. Katsuki got in. Izuku just had to make sure he never knew that Izuku did too. At least, not until the sports festival. Mei Mei was practically vibrating next to him as they walked in, her voice pitched higher than normal when she spoke. Oh my kami! Izuku, this is actually UA. How are you not freaking out? He was, just not externally. Instead of saying that, though, he shrugged. I don't know. Maybe I'm just tired. You're always tired. You're always high on caffeine. Drug addiction is your aesthetic. Exhausted hobo is mine. The door for 1F came up a lot faster than he thought it would, and it was quite a bit bigger than he thought it would be. Mei Mei, of course, decides that the best way to introduce them is to kick the door open before he could stop her. With a loud bang, it flew open, and Izuku hissed. Sweet motherfucking kami. Just Mei, she joked in return, taking his sleeve and practically dragging him into the room with 3 stunted students and a very exasperated power loader. This was gonna be a long year. My name is Maji Hagari. Power loader stood at the front, his eyes uncomfortably focused on Mei Mei and Izuku. He knew Mei Mei was smiling back, so he just glared. But that's Majin-sensei to a lot of you. Please don't play any instructional games. Please don't play any instructional games. Please don't play any instructional games. To get to know each other, we will talk a bit about ourselves. Fucking hell. Mei Mei, as wonderful as she is oblivious, leaps up. Me! Power... Maji-sensei sighs and gestures to Mei, and Izuku has to physically hold back a groan. Why can't he have a quiet day? Just one. I'm Hatsume Mei, my quirk is Zoom, and Izuku here is my best friend. I love making babies with him. Izuku buried his face in his hands when Maji-sensei wheezled loudly and the other students froze in shock. Hatsume Mei! He snapped to his friend. She had the audacity to giggle before correcting herself. Sorry, we call all our support items babies. We're partners. One day. He just wanted one fucking day of peace. I feel like my microphone's louder than it normally is, and I do not know why. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I don't know what I did. Cause like I know I can make it smaller, not smaller, but not as loud if I do, what's it called? If I do this. This makes it so fucking quiet. You can barely hear me, it is echoey. And then that makes it loud. But I tend to keep it in this section. I used to record in the other, which is why my videos were so horrendous. So horrendous. I know a lot of people record with the mics like really close up to their face. Like you've seen those podcasters with the mics up to their face. My mic does not do that. I cannot. If I want it, you want to know how it is if it's up close to my face? This is how I sound. Like it is loud. To be able to talk like this, I actually have to lower my voice in the way I speak. I naturally project my voice a lot. I've been told that I'm quite loud, and if I want to speak like this and speak here, I would have to lower down my tone, and that cannot do. I mean, like, I could do it like this for, like, chilled back, laid back videos, and when I'm, like, really tired and shit, but, when I'm doing podfics, I can't do it, because a lot of the times I have to do a lot of emotions. Like, for example, Mei is a very emotional, not emotional, but very hyperactive character, so I can't necessarily be this quiet tone, you know? So I always just put it way past, and then I just project my voice. And you could tell that there's a difference between me projecting my voice and me just regular speaking. I speak lower, it's a lot breathier, but whatever, point taken is, I have a naturally very outspoken voice. So I like to think that maybe that's why my mic could be further away from me. Because like, even Echo Bro, like my brother, he has his mic close to him as well. Like closer than mine is. And it's like, why? Why? I don't have to have mine that close, right? In fact, it's detrimental for me to have it that close. But I see a lot of people with similar mics of mine or the same mic as mine, having it super close to my face, like close to their face. And it's like, I do not know how you guys do that, but okay. You do you. Anyways, this was a really nice chapter. I wonder how Bakugou is going to react. It's going to be very interesting to see how Bakugou reacts. I wonder when Shinsou is going to be introduced. I wonder, okay. One of the tags is the fact that, Inko has bad parenting styles. So I think in this case, in this state right here, she's not necessarily abusive, but she's overbearing, like helicopter type overbearing. Like, I think it's to the point where it's detrimental for his health. Also, I see the tag for, I see the tag for the want of a nail, which happens to be a preverb and happens to fall from clouds. I was actually thinking of doing something similar to that, like a series like that, but instead of for the want of a nail, I was thinking of making a poem myself having to do with, you know, stuff like that. Or I was also thinking of just getting a quote from Stranger Things. Not Stranger Things. What's that one? Strange Life. Strange Life? Life Strange? That one damn lesbian game about time travel with the photos and the hurricane. It wasn't a hurricane. Was it a hurricane? No, it was, I think it was a hurricane. And having to choose the city or her bestie, who also happens to be her girlfriend. Depending which route you take. But let's be honest, we all take a certain route. I'm not saying we all choose for the town to survive. I'm saying, I'm pretty sure a lot of us end up choosing the route where they kiss. So, I'm just saying. That's why it's very queer-coded. Whatever, point taken is, maybe a quote from there. I was thinking of something along the lines of that, but with Fluffy Mind, and the different variations of what that could have been like. But I was thinking of instead Fluffy Mind, I'll just come up with like a different one. But again, I do not know. I might do Fluffy Mind, I might not do Fluffy Mind. It all is very dependent. Like, I could see different ways Fluffy Mind could have gone. Like, what if Inko didn't die when Izuku was like 6? What if Inko, Tsukalchi, they stayed in Izuku's life and Izuku got to stay in their life? Like, how that would affect the story. I already know that it would affect a certain character a whole lot more. Like, for example, who would get One for All would change vastly, right? It'll be back to how it originally supposed to be and Izuku would probably get it. Well, Hitoshi wouldn't get it because in that one, Hitoshi's the one who gets it. I know for a fact Hitoshi would not have gotten adopted by Eraser Mike, at least not that early, right? I think like they would have adopted him once high school and not before, right? I know there would have been a lot of things that changed drastically, like very drastically. And also, I think another one that could be interesting is, what if, instead of Izuku being sent to, Nomuri and, Tensei, what if Izuku got to stay with Tsukalchi? What if he was allowed to stay with Tsukalchi, right? Or, an alternate universe where Inko never left, Hisashi to begin with, and stays with Hisashi, and what that could have been like. And what that could have entailed. You know, a bunch of different things of like, I think I'm gonna probably do Fluffy Mind because like the other ones, it's very, not saying that I couldn't do stuff like that with my other series and other stuff, but I think that one specifically, and obviously in each and every fic, it's gonna be Shindeku because I like Shindeku. I know that Clouds for the Wanna Nail series, instead of doing the same ships each time, it's different ships each time. Like for example, Ochako and Itoshi is not a ship I would have thought, but I'm pretty sure Clouds did it. Yeah, I think it was Clouds that did it in Cheat Code, Support Strategist by Clouds, and the Clouds not coming down. I know in one it's Eraser Mike, in another it's Eraser Joke, and like in different ones it's very vastly different. I think I'm gonna stay with the same ships, except they develop at different times and different moments. But no, it's all things that I'm thinking about that I think would be super cool. So I'm guessing this is a variation of that, like for the Wanna Nail, like what if, kind of situation. And in this case, the what if situation is what if Izuku, never got All Might's quirk, right? Like what if he went the support route? right? Which is understandable. I like support Izuku. Do not get me wrong, like, I really do like analysis Izuku, but, like, I like support and analysis Izuku. I actually have, like, a little headcanon, and I want to write a story about it. I just don't know where to insert it, where Izuku's analysis, right? So he analyzes what the... He can see what the heroes need. Mei makes the hero gear, and then my OC Lily makes the costume. So together, the three of them can make not only their clothes, the gear, but also prep them with analysis that they need, and analysis that would help to then make the costume and gear. And together they make an amazing team. But I have not been able to figure out where I would put this. But I do think this is a really interesting story. I cannot wait to see it develop a little more. I know social commentary is one of the tags, so I wonder how that's gonna show up and stuff like that. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I just saw the tag. I forgot this tag was here. Mineta is there so I can hurt him. I love that tag. I love that tag. In this house, we show realistic effects of peer abuse. Oh, and we don't make the victims into villains because we aren't cowards. Okay, okay, if we're gonna be showing realistic effects of peer abuse, I'm gonna be here for it because, like, I mean, yeah. I think what they meant is the fact that Izuku's very, like, Mei notices it in this chapter as well, how Izuku's very, not off, but, like, there's signs there. For a second, when Izuku said that something exploded and one of his prototypes exploded, my thought went to, oh, are we sure that it was a prototype that exploded and not a certain spiky hair blonde? Because that would be an amazing excuse. I mean, think about it, right? So, like, I would not be shocked if it was that. Turns out it wasn't that. It was literally that. That's what happened, which, understandable. I get why Inko is upset, and I get why she would be overbearing in this sense, but I think what she has to understand is that you can't just crush your kid's dream like that. This is a living person with living emotions, right? If you cannot, like, this is a career. You cannot just tell them not to because it's dangerous. You cannot tell your child that they cannot go into the career of policing because it's dangerous. You could just prepare them and hope for the best, because in the end, like, you have to think about it this way. Izuku is 15, 14, right? 15, 14, right? He's obviously, he does not think logically. He thinks emotionally first. All teenagers do. It's not an Izuku thing. It's an all teenagers thing. They think emotionally before they think logically. That's why characters like Ida, who are logical characters, you look at them and you're like, oh, that's someone who would think before they do, right? But clearly that's not the case, because he did something before he thought about it, right? The stain incident. He was driven by emotion, because teenagers are driven by emotion, right? So you have to think about it this way. Teenagers are driven by emotion. He's not thinking about the fact that it's dangerous. What you can do is tell him that he needs to be safe with this, or else you will not support it and he has to back out. That is acceptable. Because he's a teenager. Tell him not to do it and he's gonna fucking do it. It's a teenager. What the fuck are you expecting? Right? It's why you need to regulate and you need to compromise. There are certain things that are hard-nosed and you cannot compromise with, and you just have to restrict and restrict. But when you don't have to restrict, don't restrict. Because when you do restrict, it tells the teen that you are being serious. If in everything else, you always find a compromise, but this is where you put your foot down, they're not going to be like, oh, well, you put your foot down for every little small thing, like this, this, and this, and this. They're going to be like, oh, shit, you're putting your foot down. Why? And have a conversation with them, right? Yes, they're emotional thinkers. That does not mean that they can't think logically as well. They can't think, with reason. It just means that they're impulsive. Their first thing is to think emotionally. But if you sit them down and help them think in a logical sense, yes, they're going to understand, because they're human beings and they're adolescents. They know more than you think. You don't have to baby them, right? You can have conversations with them, an adult conversation with them, right? Be like, hey, I am worried for you. You need to be safe doing this. Otherwise, you can't be doing this. This is hurting your health. I understand that it is your dream and that you want to do this, but you also have to understand that you need to be safe about this. So go at it at a safe way, or else you're not allowed to go at it, right? Give them options of the safe route, right? So when there is a hard no, right? And you say no, right? And obviously you don't just say no. You say no because this, and this, and this. They're going to listen, most likely. Especially if you've been treating if you've been treating them like this the whole time. I know for a fact that, this works, right? Having a sit down and actually talking validates not only their emotions, your emotions, and it expresses communication. It not only helps them so that they are less likely to do something that could genuinely actually bring harm to their being. It will help them with communication skills later down the road when they actually need it for friendships, relationships, and, familiarships. It'll help them in jobs to keep them in stable work-life balance and a good communication between employer and employee. It'll help them. Communication is a very important skill to have, and a lot of the times we're not teaching that to our kids. Sitting them down and explaining to them why that is not allowed or why you need to compromise it's time consuming, yes, but it's a high reward because not only will your kids understand why not, they won't be left thinking, oh, well, you're just ruining my fun. Like, you don't, right? They will understand. They'll be like, oh, okay, I understand. And they would be more susceptible for when you tell them a hard no, they're going to be like, okay, you said no. That's fine. You explained to me why no. I'm still upset that I can't do it, but I understand why I can't do it and I won't do it. Considering the fact that, you've been compromising this whole time, and the simple act that you can't compromise on this speaks volumes on why, they should not cross that boundary, right? Sorry, I went on a rant about parenting. I'm not even a parent. I'm not even a parent, guys. Guys, I can't even say I'm educated on this. I'm not a parent. The closest thing to being a parent is being an older sibling. I'm not a parent. I don't parent. My only kid happens to be a fur baby, and that bitch don't listen to me no matter what. I can't sit down and tell them why you cannot just eat tomatoes. I'm sorry, he tried to eat a tomato the other day. I can't get that out of my head. You can't eat carrots. Well, actually, he can eat carrots, but he can't eat the whole fucking carrot. How he can't be freaking, scratching at the walls. He's not scratching at the walls. That he can't be waking me up at 3 a.m. in the morning biting my ankles. Right? He's a cat. He doesn't understand. But I'm not qualified on this. I don't have any parenting books. I don't have any, at least for the psychology thing, I'm not qualified to diagnose anyone with anything. Psychology is more of a hobby of mine. I've never actually physically studied it in college or university. I did take classes in high school, and I do read psychology books on my free time and listen to psychology podcasts and listen to a lot of psychiatrists, and I talk to people who also have studied psychology and have interest in psychology. So I wouldn't say I have studied it or am qualified, but it's a hobby that I very much deeply enjoy. So I could say I'm knowledgeable in that subject. Parenting though, I'm out of my league. I don't know where the fuck I'm coming out of this. Partly most of this is just because I know for a fact that as a teen, I would have loved if every no came with an explanation, right? No, you can't do this because of that. And in my defense, a lot of the times my no's did come with communications. Like, I was told why I couldn't go to a sleepover, right? And I understood, right? If they would have never told me why, I would have been so pissed at them. Right? But they told me why, and I understood. I was like, okay, yeah, I get it. I won't ask again. And they're like, but here's the compromise. You can bring friends over. Like, you just can't sleep outside of the house. Like, you could bring friends over. I'm like, I don't like that compromise, so I'm just not gonna have sleepovers. And I still don't like that compromise. I'm sorry. My space is my space. I don't want anyone here. It's not because it's dirty. It's not because... It's literally... I could live in a fucking mansion, and I still don't want people there. Okay? Alright? I'm a picky person. I don't like people in my business. I don't like people in my room specifically. And the thought of inviting friends over so we could have a sleepover, no. I could go to their place, but they can't go to my place, okay? It's just it's a weird thing I have. There's very little people who I would like to spend over. I know Sunny, I would not mind them being in my room and being in my personal space. I do not mind them. Vale, I guess. Cielo also. Denise, who happens to be my childhood best friend. I do not mind her coming in my business. Fuck. Sleep in my bed. I don't care. Sleep in my bed, use my laptop, use my phone. Here's my phone. Have it. It was not have it, but like use it. There you go. I don't care. But compromise, right? They told me no. They told me why. They gave me a compromise. I didn't like the compromise, and instead of negotiating for a better compromise, I realized I'm not going to get a better compromise because that is the only compromise we could come up with. So instead, I went, okay, I'm just not going to have a sleepover. Right? Same with friend hangouts, right? We came to compromises, we came to agreements, and it's about communication. It's about communication, because if you do not communicate, and I like to think that those small communications, because it didn't happen all the time, right? It obviously did not happen all the time, but it happened regular enough so that I know the importance of communication. It also helped that certain friendships with mine were lacking because of communication, and we fixed that issue, right? As much as I hate to say it, a certain manipulator of mine is what taught me that communication is very, very important. Not because they taught me that I need to be communicative and they gave me compromises and we talked. No, it was simply because I was not communicating with the people around me about what was happening and stuff like that. Also, that's where I learned that boundaries need to be set, like hard no's. I cannot compromise with certain boundaries. Certain boundaries need to be hard set because you cannot compromise those. So, I don't know how bad Inko's gonna get in this. I do not necessarily blame Inko, but I do not necessarily not blame Inko. Like, she's not in the wrong, but she's not in the right. Right? It's tricky with parenting a lot of the times because there is no correct answer. It is literally all you go as you go. A lot of people say that it's like when you make pancakes. The first one always ends up a little wonky, and then you get it perfect as you go. I happen to be the first one, by the way. Which I'll say, it's interesting. I'm the first one, and I'm supposedly the one that came out wonky, right? And like, you guys know I know a lot about psychology. I talk about it a lot. People have told me that the way I speak, the way I, stuff like that, I could become energetic and stuff like that, but I could also have very serious conversations about politics, about, psychology, about, what's that word? Not psychology. Sociology? No. Philosophy, there you go. Fucking words. Philosophy, that I could have actually like really in-depth conversations. And I'm like, yeah, out of my siblings, I would say I'm the dumbest. I don't even mean it as like I'm dumb. I mean it as in, my little sister, she's a gifted kid. My little brother is a gifted kid. My other little brother, he's smart in his own way, because what the fuck 6-year-old knows about dinosaurs and their bones and can articulate which dinosaurs is what and can tell you facts about said dinosaur. I'm sorry, what the fuck? Not even me. Like, I'm obsessed with My Hero Academia, but like, if you ask me about what's the name of all Class 1B, you lost me there. You lost. Like, I feel like if this kid's, like, for example, that you guys would understand, if instead of, dinosaurs, he was into My Hero Academia, his equivalent to his knowledge to dinosaurs would be he would know the name of all the characters, including side characters that appear once. He would know all the canonical, quirks that have been confirmed. He would know about the what's it called? The prototypes, their quirks and their names. He would know literally anything that has become public. He would know. And like, I know a lot. Do not get me wrong, but I'm not to that extent, okay? He's smart in his own way, right? Each one I like to think are smart in their own way. I guess you could say, yeah, sure, I'm smart in my own way, but out of the four of us, I'm the pancake that got messed up a little in the beginning, just a tad bit. It's why I came out with blue hair and pronouns. I'm joking. No matter what, even if I was a perfect pancake, I'd still have blue hair and pronouns. It's not even my favorite color. I don't even know why I have blue hair. But yeah, as I said, like, parenting is tricky. Parenting is not a set in stone stuff. I'm not qualified to say anything about parenting, but it's tricky. It's tricky. It's a tricky ball that it becomes tricky. I'm gonna end this now. It's 22 minutes of just me yapping about parenting, psychology, myself, my siblings. Why do you guys like watching me? Anyways, as always, my raindrops, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day or night. Link to my Discord server and socials are down in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.